they were having children, but she was not having children. That is the reason. Oh. So she approached Kashyapa, and Kashyapa warned her, this is not the right time, because if that is the case, then what will happen? Lord Shiva, who is roaming with all the ghosts of two planets, he will make sure that some of the ghosts or demonic personalities will enter your room. So that is where we left, and then she is pacifying Lord Shiva. She wants to pacify Lord Shiva by offering prayer. That is what starts now from 26th, 27th. 27th. Yasya navadya charitam manisino grananti avidya patalam vihitsava nirasta samya tishayo api yat savayam Pishachacharyam acharad gati satam. Yes. Parveshwari Mataji, please start. You can start reading.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Although no one is in the material world is equal or greater than Lord Shiva, and although his unimpeachable character is followed by great souls to dismantle the mass of nescience, he nevertheless remains as a devil to give salvation to all devotees of the Lord. Purport: Lord Shiva is uncivilized. Devilish characteristics are never avoidable.
Is my voice breaking to every one of them?
Is it audible, Prabhu?
Is the voice breaking? Is my signal is low?
No, Prabhu.
That only I'm asking to everyone. I'm facing.
No problem.
Okay, you can hear me. Okay, Mataji, you can read.
Okay. Lord Shiva is uncivilized. Devilish characteristics are never abominable because he teaches the sincere devotee of the Lord how to practice detachment from material enjoyment. He is called Mahadeva, or the greatest of all the demigods, and no one is equal to or greater than him in the material world. He is almost equal with Lord Vishnu, although he is always associated with Maya, Durga. He is above the reactionary stage of the three modes of material nature, and although he is in charge of devilish characters in the mode of ignorance, he is not affected by such association. Hare Krishna.
So what is being spoken is, no one in the material world is equal to or greater than Lord Shiva. So one may question, what about Lord Vishnu? Lord Vishnu is not in the material world. He is from the spiritual world. That is what again it is being highlighted. He is called Mahesh, greatest of all demigods, because no one is equal to or greater than him in the material world. He is all equal to Lord Vishnu. Yes, he controls Durga Devi. Although he may be appearing of taking charge of the devilish characters in mode of ignorance, he is not affected by such association. Hashanti yasya charitam hiturbaga svatman ratasya vidusha samihitam yarvastramalya baranalur lepanai svabhojanam swatmatayopalati swamatayopalatitam lalitam. Yes. Sachin bro, please read.
Screen is not looking.
Hare Krishna, you are able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
1 minute. Now you're able to hear. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay.
Okay.
Can read. I'll just try to shift a place where the rain may come. Just bear for some time.
And should I read, Prabhu?
You can continue reading. Start reading.
Unfortunate foolish persons, nor knowing that Lord Shiva is engaged in his own self, laugh at him. Such foolish persons engage in maintaining the which is capable by dogs with dresses, ceremonies, garlands, and sentiments. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, you're able to see now?
Not clear, Prabhuji.
Range is full, Prabhu.
But the screen is a very small size.
Prabhuji, your screen, your video and the screen both are
Ah,
half.
half screen.
Okay. Screen is not visible.
Prabhuji, screen.
Not visible because divided in two parts.
Okay. 1 minute. What is happening today? I'm just saying. It's I've come to Wi-Fi now. Now it's okay. Full.
Now also two parts.
Screen
One
is
is your
divided
picture.
into two parts.
2 parts.
Ah,
I think there is some issue with the share screen. Okay, 1 minute. 1 minute. Now it's visible.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, please read.
Lord Shiva.
Yes.
The real purpose of Lord Shiva is to serve Lord Krishna. Lord Shiva never accepts any luxurious dress, garland, ornaments, or ointment, but those who are addressed to the decoration of the body, which is finally eatable by dogs, very luxuriously maintain it as the self. Such persons do not understand Lord Shiva, but they approach him for luxurious material comforts. There are two kinds of devotees of Lord Shiva. One class is the gross materialist seeking only bodily comforts from Lord Shiva, and the other class desires to become one with him. They are mostly impersonalists and prefer to chant Shivoham, I am Shiva, or after liberation I shall become one with the Lord Shiva. In other words, the karmis and jnanis are generally devotees of Lord Shiva, but they do not properly understand his real purpose in life. Sometimes so-called devotees of Lord Shiva imitate him in using poisonous intoxicants. Lord Shiva once swallowed an ocean of poison and thus his throat became blue. The imitation Shivas try to follow him by indulging in poisonous and thus they are ruined. The real purpose of Lord Shiva is to serve Lord Krishna, the soul of the soul. Lord Shiva desires that all luxurious articles such as nice garlands, ornaments, and cosmetics be given to Lord Krishna only because Krishna is the real enjoyer. Lord Shiva refuses to accept such luxurious items himself because they are meant only for Krishna. However, since foolish persons do not know this purpose of Lord Shiva, they either laugh at him or profiteously try to imitate him.
Yes, this is what the shloka speaks about. That who are unfortunate now people, foolish people, they can't understand the renunciation of Lord Shiva. That is the reason they even Daksha Prajapati is also in fourth canto. You'll see that he's always surrounded by ghosts. He is dressed himself with ashes of the crematorium ground. That is the reason they don't understand. But it's not the external appearance, it's a consciousness of a person, and he himself is like expansion of Lord Vishnu. The previous was told in the middle world is Mahadev. Nobody is equal to him. Nobody is superior to him. But Lord Vishnu is superior to in terms of the spiritual world. So this is what glorification of Kashyapa Muni is glorifying Lord Shiva in these verses. Brahmadayo yat krita setupala yat karanam vishwamidam cha maya ajñakari yasya pishachacharya aho vivumnas charitam vidambanam. Yes. Oh, today most of the devotees are with their videos off.
Prabhuji, I am
still
here.
in.
My video is having some problem. So
Okay, you
it's
can read,
going on.
you can read, you can read.
I
Well,
can read.
generally what I feel is whenever videos are off, I feel some devotees are in something, then it becomes embarrassing to ask them to read.
Okay. Yes,
Sound
sir.
is coming, you can read this.
Yes. Demigods like Brahma also follow the religious rites observed by him. He is the controller of the material energy, which causes the creation of the material world. He is great, and therefore his devilish characteristics are simply imagination.
Imitation. Yes.
Yeah.
Imitation. Yes.
Imitation.
Yes, please read the purport of this line.
Lord Shiva is the husband of Durga, the controller of material energy. Durga is the personified material energy, and Lord Shiva, being her husband, is the controller of the material energy. He is also the incarnation of the mode of ignorance and one of the three deities representing the Supreme Lord. As his representative, Lord Shiva is identical with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is very great in his renunciation of all material enjoyment, is an ideal example of how one should be materially unattached. One should therefore follow in his footsteps and be unattached to matter, not imitate his uncommon acts like drinking poison.
They try to imitate him by he drank poison, therefore they also drink halal. They drink liquor, they drink bang. But it's like imitation. There's something called as anukaran and anusaran. One should not imitate, but one should follow in the footsteps. Mahajana yeno gata sutanta. So if at all you want to follow in the footsteps, we should see his renunciation of material enjoyment, and we should see his devotion to Lord Vishnu. But most of the time, his followers imitate him externally. They do anukaran, not anusaran. Maitri Vacha. So that section of Kashyapa Muni warning Diti and telling Lord Shiva moves at this time. What is his characteristic? I am his devotee. So don't pull me in this act of begetting children at this time, because children will be ghostly or will be demonic. So now that section stops, and now Maitreya starts narrating again to Vidura. Shaivam samit samvidete bhartra manmatonmatindriya jagraha vaso brahmarshir vishaliva gatatrapa. Sachi Sundari Mataji, please read.
Maitreya said, Diti was thus informed by her husband, but she was pressed by Cupid for sexual satisfaction. She caught hold of the clothing of the great Brahmana sage, just like a shameless public prostitute.
Continue the purport, Mataji.
Okay, Prabhu. The difference between a married wife and a public prostitute is that one is restrained in sex life by the rules and regulations of the scriptures, whereas the other is unrestricted in sex life and is conducted solely by the strong sex urge. Although very enlightened, Kashyapa, the great sage, became a victim of his prostitute wife. Such is the strong force of material energy.
Some of the lessons for us to learn. Prabhupada brings, I was telling yesterday, text and context. So this is for all of us. In the age of Kali Yuga, Prabhupada has written this purport. Because these are the happenings in Satyuga. Although she is his own devoted wife, but she is needing a children. But the need for child at a wrong moment, Prabhupada is teaching that it's not so sane. So what to speak of when people come together for not even children, just for enjoyment, not for procreation, but for recreation, what it can be called as. Saviditva bharyashyas tam nirbandham vikarmani natva dishtaya rahasi tayatopa viveshahi. Okay. Surya, you want to read? Your sound is coming. Therefore, I asked. I was not supposed to ask you. I think your mic is unmuted.
Understanding his wife's purpose, he was obliged to perform the forbidden act, and thus, after offering his obeisances unto worshipable faith, he lay with her in a secluded place.
Please continue the purport, Tuji.
It appears from the talks of Kashyapa, with his wife, that he was worship of Lord Shiva, and although he knew that Lord Shiva would not be pleased with him for such forbidden act, he was obliged to act by his wife's desire, and thus he offered his obeisances unto faith. He knew that child born of such untimely sexual intercourse would certainly not be a good child, but Kashyapa could not protect himself because he was too obligated to his wife. In a similar case, however, Thakur Haridas was tempted by public prostitute in the dead of night. He avoided allurement because of his perfection in Krishna consciousness. That is the difference between Krishna consciousness person and others. Kashyap Muni was greatly learned and enlightened, and he knew all the rules and regulations of systematic life. Yet he failed to protect himself from the attack of sex desire. Thakur Haridas was not born of a Brahmana family, nor was he himself a Brahmana. Yet he could protect himself from such an attack due to his being Krishna consciousness. Thakur Haridas used to chant holy name of the Lord 300,000 times daily.
What is the lessons we can learn from this is, Prabhupada is writing 2-3 points here, that the glories of chanting of the holy names. He is comparing, contrasting Kashyap Muni with Thakur Haridas. He was a devotee of Lord Shiva, and he was obliged to act by his wife's desire as husband, and thus he offered his obeisances unto fate, because she was bent upon it. So Prabhupada is telling the Kashyap Muni's ability to desist or resist his wife's actions for begetting child at the wrong time is comparing with Thakur Haridas's being approached by prostitute at the dead of the night. And he's telling, again, next purport, Prabhupada will make it sure that Haridas Thakur was a devotee of Krishna, and he was chanting Hare Krishna. He's again mentioning here. In the next purport also, it makes it very, very clear that for a personalist, it becomes very easy to transcend anarthas, especially the attraction to opposite sex. But for the personalist, but for impersonalist, it's not so easy. That is what he was going to speak in the next purport. But in this purport, is trying to tell that Haridas Thakur could pass the test of Maya herself. A prostitute had come, and even Maya herself came. But in case of Kashyapa, his devoted wife only, Diti, asking for a child, but at a wrong time. So Prabhupada is trying to speak about chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra in trying to rise above this kind of weak-heartedness. Ato pashprasha shalilam pranam ayam vagatah dhyayan jajapa virajan brahma jyoti sanatanam. Yes, Sachin Bro, please read.
Thereafter, the Brahmana took his bath in the water and controlled his speech by practicing trance, meditating on the eternal effulgence and chanting the holy Gayatri hymns within his mouth.
So Prabhupada is going to
As
mention
one
some of the
has
etiquettes. Prabhupada is going to mention some of the etiquettes which are in Vaishnava etiquette book also. When one should take bath, after passing stool, after going to crematorium, and also after copulating with, after having when husband and wife come together for producing Krishna conscious children. Basically, Prabhupada is trying to mention about some of the etiquettes in the first point here. And he's going to tell about Kashyap Muni had to take bath. Generally, when husband and wife come together at the right time, one has to take bath. But what to speak of a forbidden time? It is very, very, when a man and woman come together, it's not only physical act, mind, it's physical, emotional, lot of intellectual, and also spiritual, in a sense that man and woman, they attract a particular living entity to that womb. So all my physical body, subtle body, and the Atma, everything is involved in such an act. So when the consciousness is not right, so the whole body gets, what to say, contaminated. Same thing, one of the purport I was reading about from Prabhupada, I think in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita or in Bhagavatam only. I was doing Bhakti some other section. Yeah, in the first canto, 17th chapter, Shringi becoming angry. There Prabhupada mentions, even one become unnecessarily angry, his whole body becomes contaminated. Consciousness becomes contaminated. Because lust is passion, and anger is ignorance, and greed is increased passion. So therefore, when one becomes angry, one degenerates from passion to ignorance. So these are some, because we are subjected to the material world, we are in material world, we are subjected to material emotions. So all these emotions, they trigger, contaminate our consciousness, contaminate our body, basically contaminate our consciousness, and the consciousness contamination is reflected on the body. Therefore, here Kashyap Muni is being seen as taking bath after this act, and then as soon as this thing was done, because he was performing his sandhya, as soon as this act was done, he continued, he took bath and continued the chanting of the Gayatri mantra within his mouth. So the second point Prabhupada mentions, Vedic mantra can be chanted only in the mouth. That is called japa. But some of the mantras can be chanted loudly, like Hare Krishna mantra. That is kirtan. And Prabhupada is contrasting, even Hare Krishna mantra is a Vedic hymn, which can be chanted softly to oneself, or can be chanted loudly. So therefore it's called as Maha Mantra, because it's not Gayatri mantras and some of the Vedic mantras can be chanted softly in the mind. But the Hare Krishna mantra can be chanted within one's mouth and heard, and also can be chanted for the benefit of all living entities. Therefore, it's called as Maha Mantra, the great mantra for deliverance of the people. So here, as I told in the previous verse, Prabhupada is comparing Kashyap Muni with an impersonalist. So when he compares his character with that of Haridas Thakur, who is a personalist, the personalist is stronger in sense control than the impersonalist. Prabhupada is quoting a shloka from Bhagavad Gita, Param Drushpa Nivartate. When one gets a higher taste, one can easily give up the lower taste. But Klesha Adhikarot Tesham Avyakta Chetasam, people who are impersonalist, they have a hard struggle. It's not so easy. A lot of penance, a lot of austerities for very, very little progress. Therefore, they don't get a higher taste. So then Prabhupada concludes, one is said to be purified after taking a bath and chanting Gayatri. But the Maha Mantra is so powerful that one can chant it loudly or softly in any condition and be protected from all evils of material existence. So this is the glory of Hare Krishna. Sachindan Maharaj writes in his book, Gayatri book, a map. He writes that anybody from any condition of life in any world, from any species in the human species, from any lowest position, can chant Hare Krishna mantra. And Hare Krishna mantra can take a person from very, very low level of consciousness a person is. If he starts chanting Hare Krishna, he can be quickly raised to pure consciousness. But the role of Gayatri mantra is, when a person starts chanting for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, then after that, when he becomes purified enough, when he comes to a pure consciousness, to some extent Sattva Guna, he is given Gayatri mantra to increase the goodness. And from there, the Gayatri mantra accelerates the devotees chanting of Hare Krishna mantra with consciousness. So Hare Krishna mantra chanting takes a person from a very, very low level of consciousness to Sattva Guna, and at that moment, Gayatri mantra acts to assist the holy name in purifying the consciousness of the person more and more. It accelerates the purification of the consciousness of the chanter. So this is the role of Gayatri mantra in practicing devotee's life. Therefore, it is given to one who is following all the four disciplines strictly, has been chanting, he is following the vows of initiations, first initiation vows very strictly, then is given. And then he can go and worship the deities, then he can be conscious, and that will help him more and more to progress on the path of Krishna consciousness. So therefore, comparison between Gayatri mantra and chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So now, Diti, she is very fearful now because she is feeling that, my husband was doing his evening duties of worshipping Lord Shiva, and I have just forcefully stopped him from doing that. So she feels like she's offender. And sometimes when somebody commits some offense, they lower their head and they come to the person for seeking forgiveness. This is the same now. Ditistu vridita tena karma vaden bharata upashangamya viprashim adhomukya abhyabhasata. Yes. Yashika Mataji, please read.
Translation. O son of Bharata family, Diti after this went nearer to her husband. Her face lowered because of her faulty action. She spoke as follows. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When one is ashamed of an abominable action, one naturally becomes down-faced. Diti came to her senses after the abominable sexual intercourse with her husband. Such sexual intercourse is condemned as prostitution. In other words, sex life with one's wife is equal to prostitution if the regulations are not properly followed.
Ditiruvacha Name garbhamimam brahman bhutanam rishubho vadit rudrapatirhi bhutanam yashya karavam amhasam. Now she is becoming very fearful because she has come with her husband at a wrong time. After being warned by the husband also, there is a time when Lord Shiva roams along with all his associates. Still, she did not hear, and now she is fearing that she has offended her husband in offering worship to Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva will be angry. At the same time, it's like when somebody is, they want to practice bhakti, and because of some reason, because of conditioning or because of some reason, they succumb to some wrong things. On one side, they want to be pure, they want to practice bhakti. On the other side, the conditioning is eating it up. And what the person goes through is guilt. He starts going into the guilt cycle. Oh, I should not have done this. Because I've done this, okay, I'll be displeasing my guru, I'll be displeasing Krishna, displeasing devotees. At the same time, devotees are so merciful, Guru is so merciful, Lord is so merciful, he gives a chance. Apichetu Sudacharo. Bhajan, one who does continuous devotional service, they forgive. Same thing is going on, like a flip-flop switch between Diti's mind, that I have offended Lord Shiva. My husband is a devotee of him and is of performing worship to Lord Shiva. And because of my uncontrolled senses, at a wrong time, I have approached him. Therefore, she is like, Lord Shiva is very, very strict, becomes very angry. He chastises demons like anything. At the same time, is Ashutosh. He becomes very easily pleased. So this is what this mood of Diti is going to follow in next 4-5 verses. So that you should understand when you read these verses. That is what Prabhupada is going to give in this section. Yes, Shobha Lakshmi Mataji, please read.
The beautiful Diti said, My dear Brahman, kindly see that my embryo is not killed by Lord Shiva, the Lord of all living entities. because of the great offense I have committed against him. Purpose. Diti was conscious of her offense and was anxious to be executed by Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva has two popular names, Rudra and Ashutosh. He is very prone to anger as well as quickly pacified. Diti knew that because of his being quickly angered, he might spoil the pregnancy she had so unlawfully achieved. But because he was also Ashutosh, she implored her Brahmana husband to help her in pacifying Lord Shiva, for her husband was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. In other words, Lord Shiva might have been angry with Diti because she obliged her husband to transgress the law, but he would not refuse her husband's prayer. Therefore, the application for excuse was submitted to her husband. He prayed to Lord Shiva as follows.
This mode of Shiva being easily pleased and Ashutosh is going on now. Namo Rudraya Mhate Devo Yograya Mudase Shivaya Nistya Dandaya Drita Dandaya Maniyave. Yes, Shriji Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Let me offer my obeisances unto the angry Lord Shiva, who is simultaneously the very ferocious great demigod and the fulfiller of all material desires. He is all auspicious and forgiving, but his anger can immediately move him to chastise. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Diti prayed for the mercy of Lord Shiva very cleverly. She prayed, the Lord can cause me to cry, but if he likes, he can also stop me crying, because he is Ashutosh. He is so great that if he likes, he can immediately destroy my pregnancy. But by his mercy, he can also fulfill my desire that my pregnancy not be spoiled. Because he is all auspicious, it is not difficult for him to excuse me from being punished. Although he is now ready to punish me, because I have moved his great anger. He appears like a man, but he is the Lord of all men.
Yeah, this is two emotions are going in our mind. So he should punish me because he is very, very angry. At the same time, he becomes very, very pleased, Ashutosh. So he should not, spoil my pregnancy. He should forgive me for the things which I have done. Sana prasidatam bhamo Bhagavan Puru Anugraha Vyadasyapi Anukampayanam Strinam Deva Satipati. Yes, Parmeshwar Mataji, please read.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Translation. Let him be pleased with us, since he is my brother-in-law, the husband of my sister Sati. He is also the worshipable Lord of all women. He is the personality of all opulences and can show mercy towards women who are excused even by the uncivilized hunters. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Shiva is the husband of Sati, one of the sister of Diti. Diti invoked the pleasure of her sister Sati so that Sati would request her husband to excuse her. Besides that, Lord Shiva is the worshipable Lord of all women. He is naturally very kind towards women. Or women, even the uncivilized hunters, also show their mercy. Since Lord Shiva is himself associated with women, he knows very well their defective nature and he might not take very seriously. This is unavoidable offense which occurred due to her faulty nature. Every virgin girl is supposed to be a devotee of Lord Shiva. Diti remembered her childhood worship of Lord Shiva and begged his mercy. Hare Krishna.
Yes, so that is the reason all the virgin girls are asked to worship Lord Shiva so that they can be forgiven. Maitri Vacha Swasarga Shisham Lokyam Asasanam Pravepatim Nivritta Sandhya Niyamo Bharyam Aha Prajapati. So now that section of Diti lamenting for her fault that ends here. And what continues now is Maitri again is going to continue the next thing. What Kashyapa replied to her. What Kashyapa is replying to his wife Aditi for what she has done now. Hare Krishna. Yes, Sachin Prabhu, please read.
Maitreya said, the great sage Kashyap thus addressed his wife, who was trembling because of fear that her husband was offended. She understood that he had been dissuaded from his daily duties of offering evening prayers, yet she desired the welfare of her children in the world.
Maitreya is telling Kashyap Muni addressed his wife was already, like what is preaching? Preaching means comforting the afflicted and afflicting the comfort one. People who are in a very, very comfortable, materially comfortable position, we need to remind them about death, birth, uncertainty of the material world, so that they take Krishna consciousness. But somebody is afflicted, you comfort them, so that at least somebody is very afflicted. What will hear soul, body, this all these things? First, you have to bring him to the from negativity to 0, 0. And when his basic physical, intellectual, emotional things are taken care, then you can speak out spirituality. So same thing, Kashyapa is seeing her wife who's trembling because of the fear that her husband was offended. She understood that he has been dissuaded from his duty. She understood that I've just for timing, I have just deviated him from his following of the vows and penances. So he desired the welfare for her children in the world. So already she is aware. Like when there are two personalities. One personality is a victim and the personality is the aggressor. In this case, Diti is the aggressor and Kashyap has become a victim. Now, once the activity is done, it gets switched off. Now, Kashyap understands, oh, because of you, I have been dissuaded from my path of practice. So the victim starts becoming an aggressor and the aggressor becomes a victim. This is how it goes on. But Kashyap Muni is very, very diligently guiding his wife, telling, okay, whatever is done is done now. Now please take care of your wife, because take care of your children in the home, because they are born at the wrong time. Now let's see, he is going to predict what is going to happen to them in the future. Who will come out of this from the womb of Diti? He is going to start speaking. What is that? Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu will be born. He will be killed by Lord Vishnu, and then from Hiranyakashipu, Allah will be born, and how will be glorious soul. This is how the whole chapter flows now from here. And in between, Prabhupada speaks about the nature of children based on the how when man and woman come together based on their consciousness. Children, they have particular consciousness. This is a theme for the next 12 shlokas which we are going to see now. Kashyapa vacha aprayatyādatmanaste doshan mau haurtikad uta mannideshati charena devanam chati helanat doshan maurut muhurt. The muhurt which was there was a dosha in that muhurt. Or whenever we have to beget a child, what are the four things one has to take care of? One's mental condition, time, proper time, direction of a superior person. In this case, a husband who is knowing, who is a first class Brahmana, and then the demigods or the supreme personality of Godhead. All these things should be the four factors which can bring a right progeny. But Kashyapa is telling, in my case, in both of our case, all these principles are broken. Aprayatat atmanaste doshan maurut tikad yuta. Maurut was inauspicious. Mana nideshati charen. The mind was contaminated. Devana, we didn't take blessings of the demigods. Chati helenat. And then not of the proper, what you say, direction of the husband. So all these four conditions were broken, because of which the progeny which is going to come is it going to attract demons in your. Yes.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, please read.
The learned Kashyapa said, because of your minds being polluted, because of defilement of the particular time, because of your negligence of my directions, because of your being apathetic to the demigods, everything was inauspicious. Purport: the conditions for having good progeny in society are that the husband should be disciplined in religious and regulative principles, and the wife should be faithful to the husband. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.11, it is said that sexual intercourse, according to the religious principle, is a representation of Krishna consciousness. Before engaging in sexual intercourse, both the husband and the wife must consider their mental condition, the particular time, the husband's direction, and obedience to the demigods. According to Vedic society, there is a suitable auspicious time for sex, which is called the time for Garbhadan. Diti neglected all the principles of scriptural injunctions, and therefore, although she was very anxious for auspicious children, she was informed that her children would not be worthy to be the sons of a Brahman. There is a clear indication herein that a Brahmana's son is not always a Brahmana. Personalities like Ravana and Hiranyakashipu were actually born of Brahmanas, but they were not accepted as Brahmanas because their fathers did not follow the regulative principles for their birth. Such children are called demons or Rakshasas. There were only one or two Rakshasas in the previous ages due to the negligence of the disciplinary methods. But during the age of Kali, there is no discipline in sex life. How then can one expect good children? Certainly, unwanted children cannot be a source of happiness in society. But through the Krishna consciousness movement, they can be raised to the human standard by chanting the holy name of the Lord. That is the unique contribution of Lord Chaitanya to human society.
Yes. So two things Prabhupada is trying to speak here is, one thing is the parents have to take care of the Garbhadan, then there will be right progeny. Without that, in the case of Diti and Kashyapa, it was not right. Time was not right. Husband direction was neglected. The blessings of the superior Lord or demigods was neglected. And the conditions were not foreseen. The time, the direction of the husband, the demigods, and the fourth factor, what is being mentioned there?
Mental condition,
Mental
Prabhuji.
condition. The most important mental condition. So that is the reason Prabhupada has put this in the Hare Krishna movement, that everyone should, before this sanskar, one should chant 50 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra, take the blessings of the Guru, and then come together. Then as mental condition becomes very pure, basically, like at the time of death, Antakalecha Mameva Smaran Muktva Kalevaram. At the time of death, whatever one remembers, he accepts that body. So when the person is dying, his mental state and husband and wife, their mental state. So based on that, the particular living entity comes to the womb of a particular mother through the seed given by the father. That is how it is. So based on what level of consciousness we are having, we attract a particular soul to the as a son or as an offspring. This is so scientific. So it's very important that one work on the mental consciousness condition before begetting children. This is what Prabhupada is telling in this. And even if, okay, most of us have come to Krishna consciousness in a different setup. Okay, also we are in Indian families, Indian culture. By default, Prabhupada told India is like a dead elephant. Elephant, if it is alive, it is worth it. Even if it is dead, it's worth it. Why? Because the culture of India, even though it is not followed, although people are not aware of these principles, but still somewhere without their knowledge, they follow it. And what Prabhupada is saying, even if this sanskar is not followed in the age of Kali, just by chanting Hare Krishna, such personalities can be elevated to the pure consciousness by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is the unique contribution of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the human society. That is what Prabhupada is stressing here. Bhavish, भविष्यतस्तवा भद्रौ अभद्रे जातरादमौ लोकान् सफलं स्त्रींश्चन्दी चण्डी मुहुर् अक्रण्डयिष्टया अक्रण्डयिष्यतः. So he's addressing his wife as Chandi. Bhavishyatas tava bhadro abhadre jataradamo. Jataradamo. Jatara means stomach. Which kind of personality are going to come? Abhadre, auspicious. From your womb. Jatara adamo, fallen. Lokan sapalam streams Chandi. They are going to trouble all the Lokapalas. Lokan sapalams. All the protector of the personalities. 3 worlds will cry because of them. O haughty one, Chandi. Muhur akradaya ish yataha. Yes. Shubhalakshmataji, please read.
O haughty one, you will have 2 contentious sons born of your condemned womb. Unlucky woman, they will cause constant lamentation for all the 3 worlds.
Yes.
Purpose. Contentious sons are born of the condemned womb of their mother. In the Bhagavad Gita 1.40, it is said, when there is deliberate negligence of the regulating principles of religious life, the woman as a class becomes polluted, and as a result, there are unwanted children. This is especially true for boys. If the mother is not good, there cannot be good sons. The learned Kashyap could foresee the character of the son who would be born of the condemned womb of Diti. The womb was condemned because of the mother's being too sexually inclined, and thus transgressing all the laws and injunctions of the scriptures. In a society where such women are predominant, one should not expect good children.
Basically, present society, the whole Western culture is being followed. So consciousness, this also comes in a 4th canto where Anga Maharaj, his wife, is coming from a lineage of Mrityu, Sunita there. So her name is Suniti or something like that. His father was coming from lineage of death. She got the qualities of father, a daughter gets, and from daughter, Vena was born. So there, Prabhupada writes, the sons all carry the qualities of the mother, and daughters only carry the qualities of the father. To some extent, that is told in Prabhupada purports. So same thing is being repeated here, based on the consciousness of the mother at the time of union, especially the sons, they get their consciousness, and because their consciousness was not good, surely those who are going to appear are going to create trouble to the whole society. And he's giving, right now there is nothing like the consciousness of a woman is not maintained so pure, therefore unwanted population that is what is creating havoc all over the world. If you see all over the world, everywhere there is war. People are cutting innocent people. People are torturing. People are abusing human. They have become like demons, asuras. So that is what Prabhupada starts and tells in the next shloka. What kind of atrocious activities this kind of children born of a not so pure consciousness of woman not having such pure consciousness, or the mothers who are not so pure in their consciousness, they give rise to unwanted progeny or asuras. And what is their activities? This shloka, 40th shloka is telling. Praninam hanyamananam deenanam akratagasam strinam nigrahyamananam opiteshu mahatmasu praninam. These people, these personalities, they butcher the animals for their tongue. Hanyamananam, unnecessary cause trouble to faultless living entities. Deenanam, those are not protected. Strinam, they abuse the woman. Kopiteshu Mahatmasu. This is the entity. Yes, Shiji Mataji, you have something to ask or you want to read?
Both, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, my question is like, it's mentioned here, but we see in the example of Advaita Acharya, who himself is a Sadhaka. 3 sons are devotees. 3 sons were not devotees. And additionally, we see in day-to-day life also, the devotees who are in the childhood, they are following their parents or maybe their principals. But in the younger age, they many of the cases they get diverted. So, what's the hope for the devotee child also?
Yes. Question regarding Advaita Acharya, as you are telling about Advaita was such a pure personality, was incarnation of Lord, but his some of the sons, except Achyuta and 1-2 people, were not devotees, they were Mayavadis. That is the question?
Prabhuji.
Yes, no? Okay. And second was GVC, so many devotees. In childhood, they are so conscious, but when they grow up in teenage, then they are like, they don't want to practice bhakti. This is a question, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. I mean, devotees
Yes.
follow the whole principles of Garbhadan and all, but still devotee children are getting.
So sometimes what this Bhagavatam is speaking about is asuras. If you see this personality is born of Advaita Acharya, they did not accept the path of personalism as he portrayed. But they were not like demons. Although they were impersonalist, they did not accept the personal form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But they were not breaking the principles of basic Sanatan principles, like 4 principles of Dharma: meat eating, illicit sex, intoxicant gambling. That is one part. And again, why a particular living entity of a particular consciousness takes birth in a particular personalities who are like parents like Advaita Acharya, that is again, that is like one in, it's difficult for us to understand why it is. But coming to the part of a devotee family who give birth to children, and then the children are very conscious in the childhood, but when they come in teenage, so generally the teenage part which is there, therefore from the age of 5 years till 20 years, the training of brahmacharya, and yesterday we saw the chastity for children. For children it is brahmacharya, and for boys it is brahmacharya, and for girls it is chastity. So this is ideally, girls are generally trained under mothers only at the home, but the children, they are trained at Gurukul. In olden days there used to be Gurukul. But right now, in the age of Kali, Prabhupada writes in the first canto Bhagavatam, the section of Shringi, 17th chapter, 18th chapter, 19th chapter. The first attack of Kali was he broke the Varnashram Dharma. That he made the Brahmanas proud. The Brahmanas who are the head, he corrupted the head. Once the head got corrupted, then the whole Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, everything got corrupted. And then slowly, the whole Varnashramic thing, the whole Gurukul training, everything divided. So right now, what Prabhupada has done by establishing ISKCON is, the whole world is going down, where nobody knows where it is exiting. But somehow Prabhupada has just come from the whole Vaikuntha, Goloka Vrindavana, and we are in a ship, we are in a boat going just down into some oblivion. He's just coming and turning the whole boat and trying to send us back to Godhead. So it's like a sudden jerk, turn around and go back. So conditionings will not change, because it will take generations to bring proper consciousness of children. Like when, if you take farming, agriculture as example, the seeds which are lost once, it takes time for them to revive the seeds for getting proper crops. If you take example of Goshala, when the cows used to give on 30-40 liters milk, but the same cows are giving some 10-12 liters of milk, and the whole research is on producing indigenous breed. The whole development of cow protection, the whole dairy product industry, basically cow product industry, their whole thing is they want to maintain the breed. Because of that, the first, second, third generation, the milk product again increases. So what ISKCON is going through is the first generation. Prabhupada, what Prabhupada disciples is the first generation, and now we are the second generation. So Prabhupada himself has mentioned in some of the letters and some of the conversations that will be the third generation, which will be very, very powerful. When 2 generations, 3 generations of the when husband and wife marry, the children will be born, when they'll be trained, the effect, the powerful result of this Hare Krishna movement, the culture of training and brahmacharya and chastity by woman, that will be seen in the third generation. Till that time, it will take some time, because beginning of Kali Yuga, the Kali Rajas made the whole system corrupt. And Prabhupada has just 50 years of ISKCON now. So it will take some time, at least some more 50 years for this result to come to picture. So it's not just mental consciousness is not just taking care of this thing, because okay, surely what methods you have given of chanting 50 rounds and doing all these things, that is very, very good. But when it is done, generation after generation, the result will be seen. That is how we can see in many other aspects of farming also. That is even seen in goshalas also. And that is how the culture of human beings also, the finite tissues of the human beings will also be cultivated. So it will take time, but it will happen. So it will take some time for this thing to really take place. To the degree we want to establish this culture aspect in ISKCON more, and it will take time. Okay, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Agreed.
Can you read this purport? Yes.
Translation. They will kill poor, faultless living entities, torture women, and enrage the great souls. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Demonic activities are predominant when innocent, faultless living entities are killed. Women are tortured, and the great souls engaged in Krishna consciousness are enraged. In a demonic society, innocent animals are killed to satisfy the tongue, and women are tortured by the unnecessary sexual indulgence. Where there are women and meat, there must be liquor and sex indulgence. When these are prominent in society, by God's grace, one can expect a change in the social order by the Lord Himself or by His bona fide representative.
Prabhupada is speaking about himself here. Prabhupada appeared at a time when all these things were happening. This could only change, Prabhupada is saying, only by God's grace. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, and then subsequently, his bona fide representative Srila Prabhupada, when he went west and preached, he could make the whole ISKCON, establish the whole ISKCON all over the world. But then, to bring it into consciousness, it will take some more time. At least just by seeing the external appearance, we can see that how the ISKCON is spreading. The more penetration will happen when the devotees, the practitioners, the disciples in this moment, they take up this very, very seriously in their own life, maintain the consciousness very, very pure. Tada Vishveshwara Krudho Bhagaval Loka Bhavana Anishyati Avatiryasyo Yatadrin Sataparvadrik. Yes, Jagannath Govind Prabhuji, please read.
Yes, bro. At that time, the Lord of the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the well-wisher of all living entities, will descend and kill them, just as Indra smashes the mountains with his thunderbolts.
Generally, in olden days, the mountains had wings. Until now, mountains have life. And sometimes they used to fly and they used to sit in some city here, there. So then to maintain law and order, Indra what he used to do is to come and cut all their wings. And right now this Vindhya hill, Himalaya, all these big, big hills, they are just stationed at one place. But they're all personalities. This analogy of Indra smashing the mountains with his thunderbolt is for maintaining the social order in the society. So similarly, basically it's miscreants are there, like demons come. The whole shloka, the previous shloka mentioned was the asuras, they generally delight in killing animals, innocent animals like cow, and then torturing a woman, abusing them, and thus creating chaos in the whole society. Right now, if we see the present time, we see in the social media, that see the kind of ethos has been set up in West, in East, in the neighboring countries. We can just understand what kind of situation is going on. But if there is a proper administrator like Prithu Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, they can control the law and order. So in this Prabhupada is mentioning, so to control this demonic asuric children, Lord Vishnu himself will appear. Although he is represented by Indra, Chandra, Lokapalas, Durga, Kali, who sometimes come and kill these miscreants. But Lord generally appears not to kill just miscreants, also to protect his devotees. When devotees are tortured, Lord cannot tolerate that. Then the Lord appears for the reciprocating with his wonderful devotees. Yes, please read the purport.
Yes, bro. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.8, the Lord descends as an incarnation to deliver the devotees and kill the miscreants. The Lord of the universe and of everything would appear in order to kill the sons of Diti. Because of their offending the devotees of Lord, there are many agents of the Lord, such as Indra, Chandra, Varun, Goddess Durga, and Kali, who can chastise any formidable miscreants in the world. The example of mountain being smashed by a thunderbolt is very appropriate. The mountain is considered the most strongly built body within the universe. Yet it can be easily smashed by the arrangements of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Personality of Godhead does not need to descend in order to kill any strongly built body. He comes down just for the sake of his devotees. Everyone is subject to the miseries offered by material nature. But because the activities of miscreants such as killing innocent people and animals or torturing women are harmful to everyone and are therefore a source of pain for the devotees, the Lord comes down. He descends only to give relief to his ardent devotees. The killing of a miscreant by the Lord is also the mercy of the Lord towards the miscreants. Although apparently the Lord takes the side of the devotees. Since the Lord is absolute, there is no difference between his activities of killing the miscreants and favoring the devotees.
Yes. So basically, when asuras increase, Lord descends to kill, but his killing is just for reciprocating with his devotees. So Diti becomes very happy now, thinking that okay, my sons will be killed by Lord, so they're so glorious, because she knew the importance of being killed by the Lord. They'll be liberated. She'll be speaking that in this verse. Iti vacha vadam bhagavato sakshat suno bho darabhavuna ashashe putrayor mayam ma kruddha brahmana prabhu. Yes, Yashika Mataji, please read.
Translation. Diti said, "It is very good that my sons will be magnanimously killed by the arms of the personality of Godhead with his Sudarshan weapon. O my husband, may they never be killed by the wrath of the Brahmana devotees." Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When Diti heard from her husband that the great souls would be angered by the activities of her sons, she was very anxious. She thought that her sons might be killed by the wrath of the Brahmanas. The Lord doesn't appear when the Brahmanas become angry at someone, because the wrath of the Brahmana is sufficient in itself.
What is the example?
Certain.
Which is the example in Bhagavatam? Where Lord did not appear, but just by the wrath of the Brahmanas, someone was killed. Some demonic personality was killed.
Vena.
Yes. Brahmanas don't do anything. He just told, that's it. He was dead. And from his body was put in oil and churned. And then from that body, Prithu Maharaj appeared. Again, one should not think that, no, Vena's body was so, he was such a demonic king, but Vena was coming in the descent, he was coming in the lineage of Dhruv Maharaj, was a great devotee. Therefore, Lord chose that lineage to appear, to set standard, to administer, to control the whole population, which was topsy and turvy, because the head took the part of cutting the arms. Then the Lord himself took that, the Brahmanas taken this decision, let me appear and become the arms to protect the whole society. Otherwise, all the scoundrels, rogues, thieves, plunderers, everywhere they were dust. When Vena was killed, the whole atmosphere was dusty. People were like, right now, what is happening in neighboring countries? Everybody was roaming on the street. They were doing so many things that it was, whole dust was arising and nobody could see what is happening. So Diti wanted that my children should not be killed. I'm happy that they will not be killed by the wrath of Brahmanas. But when devotees will see them creating so much trouble, they will feel sorry and they will pray to the Lord, and Lord will appear to protect the devotees and they will be killed. Now Prahlad will be sorry. Prahlad will feel sorry because not the sorriness. Prahlad will be tortured, then Lord Narsingadev will appear and kill Hiranyakashipu. And then Prithvi will be subdued and put in the Garbhodaka ocean, and then Varadev will appear and try to pick her up. Yes, please continue, Mataji. He certainly appears.
He certainly appears, however, when his devotees simply become sorry. A devotee of the Lord never prays to the Lord to appear for the sake of the troubles the miscreants cause for him, and he never bothers him by asking for protection. Rather, the Lord is anxious to give protection to the devotees. Diti knew well that the killing of her sons by the Lord would also be his mercy, and therefore she says that the will and the arms of the Lord are magnanimous. If someone is killed by the will of the Lord and is thus fortunate enough to see the arms of the Lord, that is sufficient for his liberation. Such good fortune is not achieved even by the great sages.
Yes. So basically, this Jai Vijaya will appear as Hiranyakashipu to give virus to the Lord, and then they will be killed by him, and then again they will go back. Na Brahmadanda Dagdasya, na Bhuta Bhayadasya cha, Narakaschanugrannanti, Yam Yam Yonim Asaugata. Sachin Prabhu, please read. Sachin Name Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. A person who is condemned by a Brahman or is always fearful to other living entities is not favored either by those who are already in hell or by those in the species in which he is born. A practical example of condemned species of life is the dog. Dogs are so condemned that they never show any sympathy to other dogs.
Yeah, basically, the Asuras, they always, people fear them so much. Therefore, this verse is telling that somebody who shows too much violence to other living entities, so humans, then those same humans, they don't like them. Prabhupada is giving example of dogs. Dogs are one dog sees another dog, they starts barking, biting. Therefore, the same species don't show any sympathy. Person is condemned by a Brahmana is always fearful to the other living entity. He is not favored either by those who are already in the hell or by those in the species in which he is born. Because that is in the first canto, 17th chapter, 18th chapter, 19th chapter purports. Kali. Kali, four pillars of Kali is meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, and gambling. There Prabhupada mentions that austerity, truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy. What is the root of all these remaining three pillars? This is Satya, Sauchya, Tapa, Satya, Sauchya, Tapa, and Kripa. So, out of this four principle, meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex, the root which breaks all the principle, all the whole Satya, Saucha, Tapa, Kripa is meat eating. As soon as a person becomes non-violent, all the pillars are broken very easily. It doesn't have to endure. Therefore, Prabhupada wrote in the previous purport, as soon as there's a woman and there is meat, there'll be wine and illicit sex. Why? Because the root cause of all the problems, of all the atrocities in this material world is violence, meat eating. So meat eating includes violence. So violence gives rise to remaining three things, and it is embedded in that. Somebody drinks, the intoxication aspect is broken, the austerity part, and somebody is gambling, the truthfulness aspect is broken, and somebody does illicit sex, the Saucham part is broken, but somebody does meat eating, all the four pillars are broken. This is what Chakravarti Pan mentions in the canto. That same thing is being mentioned here. If somebody who will be condemned by Brahmana, like in case of Vain Maharaj, is such an atrocious personality, such a violent personality. As soon as he was born, when he went to play, he drowned his own friend inside the water and killed him. He took a big rock and broke some of his friend's head. And wherever when he became a king, anybody who used to be caught, all the criminals used to kill them only. So therefore, there was no crime because they knew that his administrator who is their king, he himself is such a big gunda that if we do something, we are going to die. He's not going to stay and leave us. Like Kamsa. Kamsa told all, at least Kamsa was a little sensible. He caught them and told, okay, become a minister or become my assistants, I will leave you. But Vena was like, no mercy. And therefore, because of that, he was just by Brahmanical utterance of he was killed. And the same thing consequence here, because if somebody is very, very violent, Brahmanas condemn them, and their own people, their own species people will not appreciate them. And that is this verse is being spoken there. It's better that my sons will be killed by Lord Vishnu, at least they'll get liberation because of that. That is what Diti is trying to tell in this verse. Kashyap Vacha. Now Kashyap is going to tell something in box. Oh Diti, don't think that yours, because of this act of yours, only sons will be born will be asuras, but there is one good thing also. What is that? Your grandson will be born a pure devotee. Kashyap Vacha. Krito shokanutaptena satya pratyavam vamarshana Bhagavati Urumanascha Bhave Mai Api Chadharat Putra Shaiva Cha Putranam Bhavitaika Shatam Mata Gashyanti Yad Yasha Shuddham Bhagavad Yashashasamam. Sachi Sundari Mataji, please read.
The learned Kashyapa said, because of your lamentation, penitence, and proper deliberation, and also because of your unflinching faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and your adoration for Lord Shiva and me, one of the sons, Prahlad, of your son Hiranyakashipu, will be an approved devotee of the Lord, and his fame will be broadcast equally with that of the Personality of Godhead.
Yeah, this is one good news for you. I thought I told so many bad news, but this is only good news. Oh Bhagavati. Yogir me vadurvarnam Bhava Ishyanti Sadhava Nirvairadi Viratmanam Echilam Anuvartitum. So these are qualities. What kind of personality will be this person? So he's running Yogir Himeva Durvanam Bhavaishyanti Sadhava. Will be a very saintly person. Nirvaira Adi Viratmanam. He will not be having any animosity. Generally, demons are having such animosity, violence, but he will be freed from any animosity. Yechilam Anuvartitum. And he will be a perfect example for others to follow in his footsteps. Very, very important translation. Prabhupada translates in a very, very wonderful way. Yes. Parveshwar Mataji, please read.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Translation. In order to follow in his footsteps, saintly persons will try to emulate his character by practicing freedom from animosity, just as the purifying process rectifies gold of inferior quality. Srila Prabhupada. Yoga practice, the process of purifying one's existential identity, is based mainly on self-control. Without self-control, one cannot practice freedom from animosity. In the conditional state, every living being is envious of another living being, but in the liberated state, there is an absence of animosity. Prahlad Maharaj was tortured by his father in so many ways. Yet, after the death of his father, he prayed for his father's liberation by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He did not ask any benediction that he might have asked, but he prayed that his atheistic father might be liberated. He never cursed any of the persons who engaged in the torturing him at the instigation of his father.
Yeah, if you see Prahlad Maharaj's case, his own father became an abuser for him. His father wanted to murder him. His father only hired so many demons to kill him. He put them in snake dens. He put him in boiling oil. He threw him from the top of the mountain cliff. But Prahlad Maharaj did not wish. Those who tortured him did not wish anything for him because he knew that they are just instruments. And Lord Hari will protect me. So this thing of animosity, Prabhupada is writing here, only by when we control ourselves, when we achieve self-control, that time this animosity for others will go. And for that, the perfect example to follow is, we can read Prahlad Maharaj section of 7th canto, to rise above the animosity. This is a shloka which glorifies this. In order to follow in his footsteps, saintly persons will try to emulate his character by practicing freedom from animosity. Like gold, the gold, more it is heated, the more it is purified. So animosity cannot be removed so easily. Only when there is self-control, and along with that, when we read the character of person like Prahlad, we can come out of it. So Prahlad is a perfect example for coming out of this bad quality of animosity. Yat prasadadidam vishwam prasidati yat atmakam sasvadrik bhagavan yashya toshyate nanya yadrisha. Shubhalakshmi Mataji, please read.
Everyone will be pleased with him because the personality of Godhead, the supreme controller of the universe, is always satisfied with a devotee who does not wish for anything beyond him. Purport. The personality of Godhead is situated everywhere as a super soul, and he can dictate to anyone and everyone as he likes. The future grandson of Diti, who was predicted to be a great devotee, would be liked by everyone, even by the enemies of his father, because he would have no other vision besides the supreme personality of Godhead. A pure devotee of the Lord feels the presence of his worshipable Lord everywhere. The Lord reciprocates in such a way that all living entities in whom the Lord is dwelling as a super soul also like a pure devotee, because the Lord is present in their hearts and can dictate to them to be friendly to his devotee. There are many instances in history wherein even the most ferocious animal became friendly to a pure devotee of the Lord.
Yes. Basically, Prahlad Maharaj had no animosity within him. Even the enemies, basically the demigods, he became dear to them. And Prabhupada's concept of super soul is present in everyone. Her art has antaryami. So that super soul dictates even the wild animals when purity goes across them, that don't harm him, become friendly to him. So that is what is saying, because Lord is present in everybody's heart as antaryami. The Lord dictates the particular, even ferocious wild animals also not to harm pure devotees. Savai Mahabhagavato Mahatma Mahanubhavo Mahattam Mahishta Pravruddha Bhaktya Yanubhavitasya Nivesha Vaikuntamimam Vyasyati. Yes, Sachi Sundari Mataji, please read.
That topmost devotee of the Lord will have expanded intelligence and expanded influence and will be the greatest of the great souls. Due to matured devotional service, he will certainly be situated in transcendental ecstasy and will enter the spiritual sky after quitting this material world.
So basically, that topmost good of the Lord will expand. Basically, he will do he will rule it, he will preach Krishna consciousness, and then by his mature devotional service, he will again come back to God after performing his three things. Prabhupada mentioning something from Nectar of Instruction, which we read in Bhakti Shastri. And it comes in, to some extent, it comes in Nectar of Devotion also. Three kinds of practices: Sthai Bhava, Anubhava, and Mahabhava. So Mahabhava is in case of internal potency of the Lord, basically Radharani. Anubhava is a specific relationship we all of us have for Lord. And Sthai Bhava, in our body, we should practice here bhakti in the material world. When you're practicing bhakti without any cessation, that is called as Sthai Bhava. Sthai Bhava and Anubhava is having a particular relationship, we understand that. And then Mahabhava, it's not for living entities, it's only for internal potency or pleasure potency of the Lord, like Radharani or Sita Mata or like Lakshmi for them. So Prabhupada mentioning Prahlad Maharaj was in Sthai Bhava. His devotional service was indebated. It was continuous, perfect love of Godhead. It's called as Sthai Bhava. Yes, Maharaj, please read the purport.
Yes, Prabhuji. There are three stages of transcendental development in devotional service, which are technically called Sthai Bhav, Anubhav, and Mahabhav. Continual perfect love of Godhead is called Sthai Bhav, and when it is performed in a particular type of transcendental relationship, it is called Anubhav. But the stage of Mahabhav is visible amongst the personal pleasure potential energies of the Lord. It is understood that the grandson of Diti, namely Prahlad Maharaj, would constantly meditate on the Lord and reiterate and reiterate his activities. Because he would constantly remain in meditation, he would easily transfer himself to the spiritual world after quitting his material body. Such meditation is still more conveniently performed by chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord. This is especially recommended in this age of Kali.
Yes. Alampata Shiladaro Gunakaro Rishta Pararadya Vetito Dukkiteshu Abhuta Shatrur Jagata Shokaharta Naidagikam Tapam Ivodurajaha. These are the qualities which Prahlad Maharaj exhibited. Alampata. Lampata means sensuous, dicey, dealings with opposite sex is very, very loose. He is always opportunist. But Prahlad was opposite of that. Alampata Sheela Daro Gunakaro. He was a Sheela, the person of character. Sheela Daro Gunakaro. He is a river of all good qualities. Rishta Pararadya Vyatito Dukkiteshu. Paradukka Dukki. Seeing others' misery is to be miserable. Seeing others sad is to become sad. Abhuta Shatru Jagata Shokoharta. Abhuta Shatru, he had no enemies, without enemies. Jagata Shokaharta. He used to, Jagata Shokaharta, he prayed, oh Lord, if at all you want to give me something, I pray for these Mudas who are busy doing their material activities here. Please send all of them back to cottage. He wanted to completely eradicate the miseries of the people suffering in the material world. Jagata Shokaharta, who can remove the suffering of material living entities. Naidakikam tapam ivodurajaha. What analogy is given is, he will be destroyed of the lamentations of all the universe like the pleasant moon after the summer sun. Sun scorches so much. 3 tapas, 4-fold miseries, but the moon is very pleasing. People become very happy when they see a moon. It's so cold in a summer season. So it'll be like pacifying personality for all the people who are suffering in the material world. Yes. Who else is not yet read now? Whom should I ask? Okay. Yes, Sachin bro, please read.
He will be a virtuously qualified reservoir of all good qualities. He will be joyfully and happy to see others' happiness, distressed to see others' distress, and will have no enemies. He will be a destroyer of the lamentation of all the universes, like the pleasant moon after the summer sun.
Yes, please read.
Prahlad Maharaj, the exemplary devotee of the Lord, had all the good qualities humanly possible. Although he was the emperor of this world, he was beginning from his childhood. He was the reservoir of all qualities. Comparing the qualities, the present verses summarizingly says that he was endowed with all good qualities. That is the sign of a pure devotee. The most important characteristics of a pure devotee is that he is not lumped or licentious, and other quality is that he is always eager to mitigate the miseries of suffering humanity. The most obnoxious misery of living entity is his forgetfulness of Krishna. A pure devotee therefore always tries to evoke everyone's Krishna consciousness. This is the panacea for all miseries.
Yes. Antarbahishamalam abjanetram स्वपुरुषे चानुगृहीत रूपम पौत्रस्तव श्रीललानलालमं दृष्टास्फुरात् कुण्डलमण्डिताननम्. Shiji Mataji, please read.
Yes, translation. Your grandson will be able to see inside and outside the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose life is the beautiful goddess of virtue. Whose wife is the beautiful goddess of virtue. The Lord can assume the form desired by the devotee, and his face is always beautifully decorated with purport by Srila Prabhupada. It is predicted herewith that the grandson of Diti, Prahlad Maharaj, would not only see the personality of Godhead within himself by meditation, but would also be able to see him personally with his eyes. This direct vision is possible only for one who is highly elevated consciousness, For the Lord is not possible to see with material eyes. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has multifarious eternal forms such as Krishna, Baldev, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Vasudev, Narayan, Ram, Narsimha, Varaha and Vaman. The devotee of the Lord knows all those Vishnu forms. A pure devotee becomes attached to one of the eternal forms of the Lord, and the Lord is pleased to appear before him in the form desired. A devotee does not imagine something whimsical about the form of the Lord, nor does he ever think that the Lord is impersonal and can assume a form desired by the non-devotee. The non-devotee has no idea of the form of the Lord, and thus he cannot think of any one of the above mentioned forms. But whenever a devotee sees the Lord, he sees him in a most beautifully decorated form, accompanied by his constant companion, the goddess of fortune, who is eternally beautiful.
Yes. Basically, based on the mood of a devotee, the same Lord appears as Krishna, Baldev, Sankarshan. So, what is the mood of a devotee? Sutekshita. When the devotee hears from the Vedas, like Rukmini is hearing from Brahmana's letters in his father's kingdom, she got attracted to Krishna. Similarly, devotees, when they hear about the Lord from Vedic literatures, particular form they get attracted to. And whatever form they hear from the Vedas, they're all proper descriptions. Lord appears to them in front of them in that particular form. So that is being discussed here. But for the impersonalists, they are non-devotees. So they don't have faith in all these things. But devotees have this advantage of whatever form they desire, Lord appears in front of them to reciprocate with them. This is the last shloka for this chapter. Maitrivacha Shutva Bhagavatam Pautram Amodata Ditirbrisham Putrayosha Vadam Krishna Viditvasin Mahamana. Yes. Shobha Lakshmi Mataji, please read.
The sage Maitreya said, here her grandson would be a great devotee and that her sons would be filled by Krishna. Diti was highly pleased in mind. But Diti was very aggrieved to learn that because of her untimely pregnancy, her sons would be demons and would fight with the Lord. But when she heard that her grandson would be a great devotee and that her two sons would be filled by the Lord, she was very satisfied. As the wife of a great sage and the daughter of a great Prajapati, Daksha, she knew that being filled by the personality of Godhead is a great fortune. Since the Lord is absolute, his acts of violence and non-violence are both under absolute platform. There is no difference in such acts of the Lord. Mundane violence and non-violence have nothing to do with the Lord's act. A demon killed by him attains the same result as one who attains liberation after many, many births of penance and austerity. The word Yasham is significant herein because it indicates that Diti was pleased beyond her expectations. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the first 10 to 14th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Pregnancy of Diti in the Evening.
Yes. So when she heard that her children will be like, she was first fearful that her pregnancy should not be broken by Lord Shiva. And so that was not done. But again, they were born, they became demons. And even after knowing that they will be killed by Lord Vishnu, she became very grateful. And then when she got to know that grandson Prahlad will be a great devotee, she became even more grateful. Although many times, a lesson we learn from that, from this pastime is, or from this section of Bhagavatam is, to err is human, but to forgive is divine. So when we err, Diti also did a mistake, seeing, comparing. She became jealous with her co-wives, her own sisters, and she wanted children. And she united with Kashyapa Muni at a wrong time. But once she did it, once she came to know about this was wrong, she did not justify it. She accepted it, seeked forgiveness from Lord Shiva. The person whom Kashyap Muni, she also had deviated him from his path of dharma. She also asked forgiveness from him. And then she was ready to accept whatever may happen. And then she was thinking that, Lord Shiva should not destroy my womb. But she was blessed with much more than what she could expect. So, we are in the material world. Things will happen which may not be desired by all of us. But when we understand that is wrong, we should start asking forgiveness, we should repent, we should lament, And we should not go into the guilt factor, but we should take up responsibility for that fact and try to become conscious and not to repeat it next time. So again, this case is something different, but from our life day to day, it may differ. So, but whatever it is, the principle is accepting our mistakes, and to not only just accept the mistakes, we should also be ready to accept the consequences, the punishment which will come. And we should understand that we are all trying to practice bhakti and we are trying to purify our heart. So basically, because of conditionings, things will not be, sometimes will be good, sometimes will be bad. So we should depend on the Lord, we should depend on Guru, and we should depend on Vaishnavas. Even if sensually there is some mistake, if we depend on these three personalities, we can continue practicing bhakti till the last breath of our life. But moment after doing this, we go into guilt factor. What will Vaishnavas say? What will Switch Guru say? What will my superiors say? If we isolate ourselves from all this group, Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas, then what will happen? Then mind will take over and mind will completely drag us towards Adhamagati. So what she did was, she took shelter of her superior husband and she repented. She did penance, she accepted it, and she came out of the guilt by accepting, okay, whatever it is, it's my mistake, let me accept it, and at least I've been blessed that Allah will be glorious. So she became so happy. She was highly pleased in mind. So therefore, basically in Kali Yuga, this mental state is very important. After committing mistake, we should not just keep on lamenting. We should repent and then take up and become the resolution, like we should become pleased and continue that, okay, bhakti is such a wonderful process, let me not miss it. Let me continue practicing it by taking shelter of devotees. This is what we can learn from this section. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Upasthit Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. So we ended early because section is over. Therefore started early at 2:30. So next week we will have one more session next weekend. Mostly at Keshav will take that further chapters, 2 weekends next weekend and after Janmashtami, and then he will take the further unit. The 13th unit. 13th unit, 2 chapters he will take, and then he will take the 14th unit also. 6 chapters Keshav will contain. So meanwhile, continue, complete your OBS, complete your CBS, and this 13th chapter CBA will be after completion of this. We complete on 7th and 8th September. Then on the next weekend, 15th, 16th, or that subsequent the end of September, we'll have the CB and OB submission. Hare Krishna. Any queries, any comments, any questions regarding anything? Or you will end.
Thank you, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai.